because you just nailed it. We, at our premiere on the second night, I asked whoever is a cancer survivor, please stand. They stood. Whoever whoever knows somebody that has cancer, please stand. Whoever has cancer, please stand. Whoever has lost a friend or loved one to cancer, please stand. By the time I was done, every single person in the room was standing. In other words, it impacts everybody either directly or indirectly. People don't even realize it does. That's why we made the movie.
Welcome to Landmark Difference Makers, where we interview people making a remarkable difference around the world. Get ready to be inspired. Let's jump in.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Seamus Ford, and this is another edition of Landmark Difference Makers. And today we're going to be interviewing Greg Roth. He's a lifelong storyteller and creative force behind We Ride Why, a powerful multimedia venture merging cycling, music, and documentary filmmaking to heal, connect, and inspire. As the founder of Seattle Music Insider and now the director and executive producer of the upcoming docuseries We Ride Why, Greg channels his passion for visual storytelling towards celebrating resilience, community, and the fight against cancer. Having lost his mother to cancer at age 11, he now rides hundreds of miles annually and produces films and podcasts that turn personal grief into collective healing. Greg, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's really a pleasure. So the first question is, what inspired the creation of We Ride Why? And, how does your personal story come into play with this?
Well, so I got back into cycling in 2015 for my health, my personal health, mental, physical health, lose weight. So I loved it so much. And then 2016, I was watching Le Tour de France, and I had a trail bike, and I was watching Le Tour de France, and I was just transfixed, and so I wanted to get a bike so I could ride faster and so I could ride longer. So I got a road bike, and I entered my first event called Fred Hutch Obliteride, and I entered it because it was a cycling event. It was my first one. And then also, I thought it would be really cool because the event is to raise money for cancer research. And my mom died of cancer when I was 10, when she was 31. And I wanted to do something to pay tribute to her and do something to make a difference, take some type of action to heal, because for a lot of years I did not, and it's in the movie, but didn't really talk about it. And it wasn't until I started riding my bike and then getting in Fred Hutch Obliteride that I really started to deal with my mom's passing in a deeper way. I think the bike did it for me because when I was a kid, my mom was sick and my mom died. My bike was my escape. I would just get on my bike and just go ride and get lost, and I'd be on my bike all day. And so my bike was always my place, my always go to whenever I just wanted to get away or just get out in nature and so that's what it did for me individually. So I got a lot out of it personally. But then the following year, I wanted to do something a little bit bigger. And so I wanted to put a team together to ride. And then also I thought it would be really interesting to document the experience. Originally, it was going to just be a little short thing about me riding for my mom. And then I thought, well, that's interesting, but who's going to really care about just me and riding for my mom? I thought there was two other mothers who I knew personally. One was at stage 4 cancer, and the other was a cancer survivor. And they were both amazing women and friends. And I thought, well, and they were very much like my mom. They love music, art, very progressive in their thinking, very strong women, love their kids, bright, full of life. And so I thought they were all kindred spirits. So I thought that would make an interesting story. And so I came up with and I was out riding one day and I just saw this, when I'm out riding, it's like being in a music video. It's amazing beauty that you experience, and you really see the world in a whole different way. And I just got inspired visually. I've always been a visual artist. I've always been, photographer, videographer. And so I started to see these images, and I don't know, I feel like the idea kind of was given to me versus me finding it. I just kind of did the groundwork to put it together, but that's what inspired me was this event called Fred Hutch Obliteride, where all these people come together to not only make a difference, but to also heal and to honor the people that they either have cancer, um, or people that have survived cancer, or people they've lost to cancer, or themselves if they have cancer themselves. And so to me, that event and a community coming together in really dire circumstances really spoke to me, because that's what it provided for me, was a place to go where I wasn't alone.
You talk about healing a lot in
Hmm.
this, and I think most of us, when we think about cancer, we think about the process of healing from cancer itself.
Yep.
And to lose your mom at 10 years old, 11 years old,
Traumatic.
the uh, I'm just wondering if you could say a little bit
Yeah.
about what that was like for you at that age to lose your mom that way.
It was the most devastating thing that's ever happened to me. It's the one thing that you think is sure, when you're a kid, your mom provides stability in a safe place, because the world can be mean. You get older and you start to get out in school, and then you get bullied and whatever as a kid. Kids go through a lot, but no matter what happens, mom's always there, right? And to provide emotional support. So when she got sick, just going through and seeing her be sick, seeing this beautiful, strong woman deteriorate in front of you, um, to see her take off her robe and after her breast had been removed,
Hmm.
her body ravaged by chemotherapy. Yeah, it's traumatic, and to the point to where I kind of shut down, and so I kind of shut it out and just went on with life. That's what we did. You just go on, you keep living, right? But then you have to deal with it eventually. And so I found that because I didn't deal with it, it would manifest itself in other areas of my life, unresolved trauma, and it would show up in different ways. And so that like there's always there it doesn't like it's never going to be 100% healing. I'm always going to miss my mom. There's always going to be a mom shaped hole.
Sure.
That's just the way it is. But you
Yeah.
just accept it and do something positive with it. And this movie is that. This movie
Mm.
is to to take everything that I've experienced in my life, good, bad, ugly, whatever, and pour it into this so that it can, number one, make a difference, um, help raise money for cancer research, and pay tribute and honor my mom and also my friend Ashley and my friend Jenny, who was a cancer survivor, was told she wouldn't have children, and she has a 30-year-old son.
Mm.
She was told she wasn't even going to live, let
Well,
alone have kids.
you mentioned their names, and one of the things that we
Yeah.
talked about as part of setting you up to be interviewed was the community that's formed around the
Oh yeah.
film. Can
That's
you
really
tell?
what the story's about mainly. I mean, it's bigger, it's like us in relation to community. Like there's me, my individual story, there's the individual stories, but then it's really how all these stories are connected, and that we really are all connected and we really are all the same
Well, what do
person,
you think people discover when they get involved with the community around?
they're not alone.
Hmm.
It's that simple. It's like we need, even in the movie, there's one of our subjects is Bennett White, who was at stage 4, and he says we all need each other to get through the hard times, and cancer's hard times. I mean, it's as hard times as you can get. And cancer, so for every one person that's impacted by cancer, how many people in that person's circle are impacted because they're impacted? Because cancer impacts the individual, right? But there's collateral damage. There's what it does to the people around in the community. And it's a very lonely thing, fighting cancer.
Hmm.
So when people can come together and share and not feel alone, it's powerful.
Hmm.
And then when they can come together and actually take some actions to help find a cure, even more powerful.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit because,
Mm-hmm.
for people that are watching this or listening to this, the film is now out. You've
Mm-hmm.
had several premieres. You've already won an award for the film.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell us a little bit about what the film covers and what you hope people are
Sure.
going to walk away with?
So the film, I think what it does is I'm not the story, I'm the storyteller, but I have to tell my story as it connects to the other three mothers' story. So the story really revolves around the lives of these three mothers, my mom, Jenny, and Ashley, and their and how they dealt with cancer and how they're dealing with cancer. And Ashley has a daughter who's the same age I was when I lost my mom. So that was the other reason I chose Ashley, is because she wanted to know what it was like for me.
Mm.
Um, no, she wanted to know what it was like for her daughter, what her daughter is going through my experience of being with my mom when my mom was sick. And then I wanted to know what my mom was going through Ashley. That's a big part of the story. I think that there's a lot of, I mean, there's the larger story, and then there's a lot of other smaller stories interconnected. It's a very multi-layered movie. So there's a lot of different things you can get up, but they all connect. So there's the individual's lives in relation to the broader community and the power of community and what it can do to if to either make a difference, find a cure, or just provide emotional and spiritual support through the most difficult thing that one can deal with. One of the most difficult things that one can deal with. And excruciating. Because I mean, when you see Ashley in the movie, you get a sense of what she actually has to deal with on a day, like sitting in a hospital bed for 10 hours getting chemo till 10 at night.
Mm.
Things like that, like the realities of what cancer really is and the realities of the impact of it. That we have to show that. It's not easy to see. We have a trigger warning at the beginning, but we have to show it because we have to show the realities of it so that we can show why we do what we do and why it's important we do what we do and why
Yeah.
it's important that Fred Hutch exists.
Well, a lot of people, if not most people, have been touched by cancer in some way. I mean, you only
I would
need to live
say
so
just
long.
when we had our premiere, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I gotta say this because you just nailed it. We at our premiere on the second night, I asked whoever is a cancer survivor, please stand. They stood. Whoever ha, whoever knows somebody that has cancer, please stand. Whoever has cancer, please stand. Whoever has lost a friend or loved one to cancer, please stand. By the time I was done, every single person in the room was standing. And if I would have done the same thing the night before, the same thing would have happened. In other words, it impacts everybody either directly or indirectly. People don't even realize it does. That's why we made the movie. Like people
Mm.
don't realize how like when you really take a look and realize the level of impact and how nobody's immune from it, it's powerful. And that's why it's important that we continue to do what we do and that Fred Hutch does what they do and that we honor people and we create communities so that we can have a safe place for people and hopefully even and get to a cure. Fred Hutch has made some great progress.
Well, you said earlier that you want people to walk away with, I'll say it this way, actions that they can
Mhm.
take
Yeah,
and ways that
whatever
they
it
can
is.
contribute. What
Mhm.
what are some of those actions? What are some of the things that,
You know, there's a myriad of ways. It's multi-layered. So like you can go find something that's important to you, find something that's impassioned to you. It could be ALS, it could be MS, but get involved, go do something about it. You know, um, pick up the phone, call your mom, hug your dad, hug your kids. That's an action. There's so many actions. It could be a small action, doesn't matter. Just some action. If you go visit your friend who just came back from a chemo session, just do something.
Mm.
Get involved. Um, go get a colonoscopy. Some action though. Some action to improve the human condition in some way, just your family, your community, your friends, your inner circle doesn't matter. Just do something. Take some action. And some people choose to take big actions. I made a movie. and I ride Fred Hutch Obliterate every year. This year was my 10th. And I continue, and then I promote the movie, and I'm doing this. That's an action. Every conversation I have, no matter if I'm saying the same thing over and over again, it's important because the message has to be repeated. It has to be repeated. It has to keep getting out there because people will forget. They have their lives. There's other things happening. So you have to keep it right there on people's radar.
One of the things about creating a film is
Mhm.
it really takes a commitment. In for
No
in for
kidding.
in for a pound, in for a ton.
It's
Um,
everything that I took everything I had. It
yeah.
took it took all my life's experiences, everything. I feel like making this movie is what I was put on this earth to do, and that everything that came before it, good, bad, positive, negative, whatever, it was all part of the journey so that I could make this movie. That's how I feel.
Well, with that, I have a question as it relates to
Mhm.
Landmark. If somebody's listening to this, one of the
Yeah,
commonalities of everybody
yeah,
we interview, they've done Landmark. Um, I'm curious, you know, how Landmark may have, your training at Landmark may have come
yeah,
into play and
yeah,
actually fulfilling on this. Because
yeah.
there's, for every person that makes a film, there's probably hundreds that think about it.
Well, I think one of the fundamental thing is it gets back to the A word, action. It's always about being in action. But Ashley passed away during the making. When I was an ILP, she passed away,
Hmm.
and I was just really getting going on this when I started. Um, the thing I think what really for me what became when I was doing the SCLP and we didn't finish in person because COVID hit like before our last weekend, but I would say the biggest thing and what I brought to the movie, and it's even in the movie, I say it straight up. I go, life is not about me, it's about me in relation to my community. And
Hmm.
that's really what the movie's about.
Hmm.
In a
Yeah.
nutshell. If you were to summarize into one thing, now there's much more than that. But I would say, this movie mirrors my own transformation with Landmark. So I did the form and you get what you get, and then it's about taking what you get and then putting it into use in reality,
Yeah.
and to actually take, instead of just being concepts and words and jargon and all that, to actually take what you've learned and put it into action. So that's what I did.
Well, if for people that are listening that aren't necessarily familiar with Landmark,
Yeah.
the SELP is an acronym for Self-Expression
Oh yeah,
Leadership Program.
didn't want to assume that. Yeah, we
Uh,
got to definitely
no,
spell out the acronyms.
totally fine, totally fine. I happen to have led that program for many years,
Yeah, it
and
was powerful.
it's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. I
But
actually created a project during it called 3,000 Miles for Ashley, where I rode
mm,
3,000 miles because we couldn't work on the movie. So I rode 3,000 miles that summer to raise money for cancer research.
mm. Well, to to anybody who's listening who hasn't, not familiar with Landmark or not familiar with that particular program,
Mm.
it really is where you get to put into action a vision that you have. And, what struck me about what you said about making the film is that it's what you were put on the earth to do.
Mhm.
One could say that it's, really the it's giving you being to do this. Um,
Well,
I,
yeah, and it's more than just people showing people a movie. When we have a screening, we're creating a whole experience. We do a QA. We have people that have are dealing with cancer share their stories. We're not just doing a screening. It's a 3-hour evening where people can come together and feel safe and be vulnerable.
hmm,
And the movie's part of it. Um, and even during a virtual screening, we try to create that. We do a QA and really try to open up the space for people to talk about a subject that is tough to talk about.
yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things I want to ask you next is what's next for the film, what's next for this. But I'm struck by something, which is that you're creating this more immersive community experience in
Yeah.
watching these screenings. At some point, if it's streaming, at some point, if it's in theaters, where whatever that may be, where you have more of a
Mhm.
singular or personal experience watching the film, how can you have that clearly, very evocative experience, be available to people?
Well, I think I mean, we had our first premiere in Seattle, the Seattle International Film Festival Center. They have a big, one of the big international film festivals every year. And both nights sold out and the response was fantastic. And so it was our first premiere, so we were trying some different things. But eventually, we figured out we can develop a program for live screenings because it's the kind of movie where people, mostly consume movies at home, on their big screen TVs, and we get that, and we're gonna, we obviously want to do that. But because of a movie like this, we want to have something unique in that we want people. There's something about going to a theater and sitting down with other people and having a shared experience together on a big screen in
Hmm.
a theater setting that you can't match at home. It's just different. It's not better or worse. It's just different. We want to create that. But then we also know that there's people that can't come see it, but they want to experience with others. So we had a virtual screening a few weeks back where we had 10 to 15 people, all view the movie from the comfort of their homes. And then afterwards, we did a virtual Q&A and we had a conversation. So we're going to be doing more of that. And then, of
Well,
course, yeah,
and not to put you on the spot, but I get the power of that. I get the
yeah.
difference it would make to have that, that be part of the film watching experience. But do you have a sense of how you'd be able to sustain that kind of, uh, I mean, it's a lot of work on your part, so I'm just wondering
No,
how you,
well, what's great is we have a team of people. I have a team of people that is really. I didn't even have to lift a finger to schedule that screening. I had somebody who's very passionate. We have a lot of people that want to see this film get out to the world. We have a
mm,
community of people that I've created called family and friends of, We Ride Wife, Friends and Family. We have 200 plus people,
mm,
and everybody's engaged. They've seen the movie, they came to the premiere, and now they want to help us get it out there. So part of the magic of that is this is a movie for community, about community, and our community is going to help us. So in terms of bandwidth, there's people to handle that. We delegate. We have a team of people that one person who's going to be the person that schedules our virtual screenings. I'm involved too, of course, but I'm directing it more from a strategic point of view. I kind of lay out the strategy. We're entered in like 15 film festivals right now. We've got a bunch lined up for next year. We're going to be doing private screenings in and around Seattle. We're waiting to hear back on the film festivals to start scheduling some additional screenings. We're going to be doing screenings in other markets like San Francisco, New York,
mm,
LA, where we go and we create what we created here into other cities. It's going to take time and money to do that. But making the movie was the hard part. This is the fun part. This is the easy part. It's just a matter of figuring out what we want to do, creating a strategy around it, and executing on that strategy. It's the same as making a movie.
mm,
And then figuring out what you need in terms of resources to have it. If you need more resources to help, then we get more resources. But it starts with me, and I like to think that I have really good program management skills. What it took to finish this movie from ideation to conception to the launch to getting the movie completed, getting the licensing done, setting up our first premiere, selling out both nights. I managed all of that. So I feel really confident in my ability, but I also, when I bring other people in the mix, it's great to get their input too, because I have blind spots, right? I learned that at Lamont, we all have blind spots. So you bring in other people and they can point out things and maybe have some ideas. But eventually what you have to do is you got to figure out what is doable, and break it down into chunks. So like, what's our goal for the next 3 months? And you set clear goals, what you want to
mm.
achieve. You have metrics. And then as you get close to achieving those goals, you start to set up the next thing. You have an overall plan, but you break it into chunks. That's how I did the movie. If I would have tried to take on the whole movie, it would have been way too much, But when
Yeah,
you break
yeah,
it into chunks and you manage it, and then once you've managed that component and completed that component, then you're on to the next one. Very systematic approach. And
yeah. Well,
that's what
and
it's taken.
also,
Yeah.
you it's a good way to avoid overwhelm.
Well, yeah, because I would, there was days I was depressed. Like it was so overwhelming that I just like, I had to step away from it. How am I going to do this?
Yeah, yeah,
And I realized that I can't do it alone, that it takes a village, it takes a team of people, and I leaned on people. And then I also broke it down into manageable chunks. And so when you do that, then you get the satisfaction of completing something, of achieving a goal, and then you set the next one. It's like bike racing.
yeah, yeah.
You finish a race and then you get ready for the next one.
Well, as you talked about all of the, your whole approach to this, it leaves me
Yeah.
wondering how is taking this on and now having fulfilled the creation of the film and now being in the middle of, generating awareness for it. How has that whole experience transformed you?
It's still, I mean, I'm still processing it. Like I'm realizing what I'm capable of, like how powerful I really am. Here's the other thing I forgot to mention. You said what else is next? We've got three small projects in the pipeline that we're going to be producing starting September to go along with the movie because it's hard. If you've seen the movie, there's more story, like there is no finish line. There's more. But this part of the story is a complete piece, but there's other stories beyond this. And so we're we're lining up some other, so we're going to continue production on that as well. It's an ongoing thing. In answer to your question, I mean, it's mind blowing because if I sat down and I went over all the things that I had to do, all the actions I had to take over the course of 7 years to have this be real, to actually have the movie complete. It's an amazing feeling. It's the best feeling I've ever had. It's the most satisfying. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's the most satisfying thing I've ever done. And again, I feel like we're just getting started because we just launched. I mean, we just premiered in June, at the end of June. So we have a marketing campaign that's going to go over the course of the next year. And it's a documentary movie. So a documentary movie has shelf life. A documentary movie does not have an expiration date. You can
Yeah.
show it at film festivals every year. You can show it at bicycle film festivals every year. You can do screenings during the holidays or screenings during certain times. And it's evergreen material because the story's timeless. And so that's the other great thing about a documentary is in fact, the more time passes, the more legend it becomes. This story took place, the core part of the story took place in between 2017, 2018.
Hmm.
And then it's told, we bring the audience to present day. Because the story itself, even though it took place at that time, it's a timeless story. And when you see the movie, you'll get it.
I want to go back for a moment to what the what do you want the viewer of the film to be left with? And uh, I'm not looking for something like a
Yeah.
specific thing, but what do you want them to walk away from that they didn't have before they saw the film?
Then you're not alone. And that
Hmm.
and that we all have a story and that everybody is a story and that we need each other and that we're all the same. Despite all the BS that and I don't watch TV, I don't watch the news. I keep up on what's going on. I don't follow any of what's going on the news or social media. I know what's going on. I keep up on news. That's different. I don't buy into all this divisiveness, which is manufactured for business purposes, how I see it. So for me, the biggest takeaway is cancer doesn't give a shit if you're a millionaire or if you have nothing. Ask Paul Allen's family, ask Steve Jobs' family. It doesn't care if you're beautiful and you're young. Ask Ashley's family and me. And it doesn't care if you're Republican, it doesn't care if you're Democrat. The one positive thing that you can say about cancer is that it actually brings people together that may not even come together. And that we really are all the same and that we really are all connected. Despite the contrary of what we're fed through media. And
Hmm.
that we truly need each other. Because when push comes to shove and you're dealing with life and death, nobody cares who you voted for.
It's really funny, not funny. I think a
Yep.
powerful illustration of what you're talking about I can relate to in my own family.
Yep.
I have an aunt who in this case, it's not cancer, although we've had cancer in my family.
Yep.
I have an aunt who's got a disease in her eyes,
Mm,
and there's a very good chance that she's going to lose her vision as a result of it. And in order to preserve her vision, it's just requiring an enormous amount of constant intensive care. And my aunts and uncles, um, of which there's 8 of them, in addition to my dad, have been all over the map about politics. I mean, you could just draw a line right through the middle of the family when it came to
mhm.
kind of American politics. They have all rallied for her
Yeah.
because
Because love's all that
it's
matters in the end, man.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
and
that's like the answer to the question why, it's love. I mean, at the end of the day, you go to a memorial, nobody's going to talk about who you voted for. They're not going to talk about how much money you earned, the company that you worked for, what you did, what your job title was. What are they going to talk? They're going to how you made them feel,
yeah,
who you were to them. And that's what I got from this movie is that um when you go to a Fred Hutch Obliterate on a Friday night, there's a big kickoff party. There's thousands of people there, and it's celebratory, and you would never know that this whole gathering has to do with cancer research, but people are celebrating life. There's people there that are at stage 4. There, Ashley, she came, and that was her last one. She passed away months later. Bennett White, who's in our movie, he was there. He passed away. It's amazing when you see it and you realize that we really are all connected, that we all need each other at the end of the day.
mm.
And that and all this other stuff is just manufactured, but it's not reality.
It's a very powerful takeaway from watching a film.
I
Um,
hope that's what people get. I really do. I think people, but at the end of the day, I'm not attached to what people get. They have
sure.
got, based on feedback, they've gotten that, but they've gotten a lot more. And because again, it's multi-layered stories. So people maybe get this, they get this, a la carte, they get the whole thing. But at the end of the day, I think, people are going to get what they get. It is my hope that when you see the individuals in the film, you see yourself. Like when they see me, they don't see necessarily Greg, but they see their brother, they see their dad, or when they see Ashley, or they see my mom, they see their sister, and they see their friend. They identify. The women in these movies are amazing women, and they're identifiable, they're articulate, they're bright, and they're relatable.
Hmm.
And I think when people watch a film, they want to see themselves in the individuals, and I'm hoping they do,
It's great.
because that's really, like, we're hoping to be the voice of those who, I made a movie, that's what I chose to do, but hopefully when people see it, they see themselves and they feel they're represented.
Well, let's let people know how they can see the film, how they can
Sure.
participate in the community around it.
Yeah. So there's one thing that we're doing right now. We're having a mail sign up list. Like I said, we're waiting to hear back on festivals, so we haven't scheduled our next screening in Seattle. What we do, we have, and see if I'll drop this in the chat. We have a GoFundMe campaign, and it's all pretty self-explanatory. And so what we're doing is anybody who makes a donation, whatever it is, whatever they can afford, we'll send them a link to watch the movie. And
Great.
I've got a lot of emails to send out, because or if people want to set up a virtual screening, we can do that too, because it's not streaming yet. And again, we're holding off on having it be on the platforms, because we're waiting to schedule some things. And again, we're waiting to hear back before we can do that. But we are scheduling private screenings now, virtual. And then also, if people do want to view it, if they make a donation, whatever it is, we'll send them the link and they can view it.
Well, let's go ahead and play the trailer for the
Oh, yeah.
film.
One of the things you remember growing up is certain milestones, like you learn how to tie your own shoe. You don't have to rely on somebody else. And then you learn how to ride a bike without training wheels. So I come home, he goes, okay, son, go get your bike. We're taking the training wheels off. I'm all nervous and all this. And he goes, son, all you have to do is this. I'm going to push you, and all you have to do is pedal.
It wasn't this over like, oh my God, devastating, I have cancer. To be honest, it was kind of like, it's okay, I got this.
I looked at the doctor and I'm like, am I gonna die? And he's like, maybe.
I think if enough people band together and support each other, it can do wonders.
We're here to help each other through our hard times.
We have the WeWriteWhy.com, we have social media, we have the YouTube channel. So if folks want to check it out, you can drop the link in and have them watch it. And also, we do have the trailer on the GoFundMe page as well.
Yeah, so we'll include all of that in the description of the video, wherever this happens to be. I want to ask a couple of quick questions before we wrap up.
Sure.
And one of them is, I'd like you just to imagine that there's somebody out there who's just discovered that they or somebody they love has cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And just like was reflected in the trailer, they're now dealing with what if. What do you want them to know?
You're not alone. I know it sounds really simple, but that's powerful because there's so many resources available and a community of people. That's that when I know that when talking to Ashley, you know, we had a lot of conversations that aren't even in the movie. And even though she had this amazing family around her and friends and everybody supporting her, she still felt it's still very lonely. And just knowing that there's people that you're not alone, that people care about you. And she didn't die alone. She was surrounded by love when she passed away. So I think that we're not alone and that you don't have to deal with it alone. And that it's a lot more common than, unfortunately, it's a lot more common than everybody's impacted. And there's resources like in Seattle, we have the Seattle Cancer Care Alliance, which is where friends of mine have gone to get their chemo, and Fred Hutch is they're part of the Fred Hutch. They're part of Fred Hutch. But events like Obliteride and there's other cycling events that aren't related to Fred Hutch. You know, there's Susan G. Komen has a big event in October. You know, there's all kinds of things going on, and they create community. You know, the pink shirts, and it's beautiful. And so I think that's the thing, because at the end of the day, nobody gets out of here alive. We're all gonna eventually pass away. So while we're here, what are we gonna do? You know, and what's important, and that's connecting with each other and being there for each other.
That's great. Well, the last question is this. It's something we often ask people when we interview them. And you just really kind of created the context for it. No one gets out of here alive.
Yeah.
You know, I like to say 100 years from now, nobody listening to this is going to be alive. What do you want people to say about you when you're no longer here?
Wow. Kind of getting emotional. That I would want them to say that I brought the love to everything I did. And then it showed in the work. It showed in how I showed up. You
Wonderful.
know? I mean, if people said that you know, I'm good. I shared this at the premiere. I said, God forbid, you know, if I'm out riding my bike and I got hit by a car, I'd be at peace. Because I had done what I come here to do, and that's to make this film and tell these stories. And this will live long after I'm gone. Now, I hope to be here a lot longer, and I want to be here a lot longer because there's more to do. There's a lot more to do. We're just getting started. But what I'm saying is to be able to say that is powerful. You know, because then it's like, okay, I'm free. So now what? And there's more stories. There is no finish line. Transformation, there is no finish line. Love, there is no finish line. Finding a cure for cancer, there is no finish line. our stories, there is no finish line. Even after we're gone, there's still, our story continues to the people that loved us, or love us, the people we've loved, or what we've contributed.
Hmm.
But I think the love piece, that's everything that matters to me.
Well, I thank you for bringing the love.
Thanks, man.
It's really been a
Yeah, it's
pleasure.
all driven by love, man. I mean, if it has to be, or else I wouldn't have finished it. It's a
Yeah.
love letter. This movie's a love letter to my mom, to Ashley, and our community. And when you see it, I think it's obvious, but everybody that worked on this film, you know, our editor, my cinematographer, everybody brought the love. Every single person, and our editor brought the love. We were with these families every day for 7 years working on this, thinking of them. How are they going to receive it? How's it going to impact them? And they loved it. Fred Hutch loved it. My brothers loved it. That's, at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. And then folks outside of that love it so far. So, because if the families didn't, if it didn't resonate with Ashley's family, for instance, that would leave me empty. But the fact that her family loved it, and her brother texted me, and they all came to the premiere, and her daughter came to the premiere, who's now 19. She was 12 when we filmed. She's 19 now. She came and got up and shared. That to me is the best part about all this, is that all the people involved directly, the families they're all behind it. And Fred Hutch too. It's pretty cool. But we we're on message.
Wow.
We're on message with what Fred had, with what Obliterate's message is. There's no deviation.
Yeah. Well, it's really been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you
so
for having
much.
me. This is awesome. Great questions, and it made me think a lot.
Wonderful.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Landmark Difference Makers. If you're inspired by what you heard and you want to learn more about Landmark's programs or explore upcoming episodes, visit landmarkforumnews.com to find resources, event details, and more stories of people making extraordinary impact around the globe. If you are already a part of the Landmark community, check out the Landmark subscription, designed to provide ongoing support in creating a life you love. Visit landmarkworldwide.com to learn more. Until next time, keep creating, keep contributing, and keep making a difference.